Hi there, this is Hamish Watson, and this is the third episode of Rex Clubhouse with John Barclay.
Champeroo!
How are you, bud?
Fucking knackered.
What, the kids?
No, I'm not. I've been building a wall all day.
Such a doer, bro.
I just get after it. That's what I do. Just see things being done and just do them.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
And you, man? You've been training today?
Yeah, we've been training Saturday and Sunday.
Edit.
This is all going to be edited as well, so anything you say will be edited out, John, so don't worry if you speak inappropriately and you mess with me later.
What are we talking about? Just
anything, mate. Well, I'm sort of going to dive into your life after rugby stuff mainly. Talk a bit about your career, bit about Vegas. Vegas.
Oh, I can't wait for this intro. This is going to be big.
Okay.
My mentor, the man that taught me everything, handsome, great pet, good shrub.
Fan questions I got about there's a few of them I put in there for a bit of crack, but some of them were like, Dave,
boys,
where do you keep?
Why is your ass yellow?
Yeah, like I don't even know who wrote one into Gus, and like, how are you so sexy? And I was like, that is
her eyes aren't painted on Hamish, are they?
That is absolutely disgusting.
Are you going to put on like a weird voice or anything? Are you just going to be yourself?
Well,
like when David does it.
Being myself is putting on weird voices, so I think I'll probably be really weird, yeah, and just have a normal voice. No, you want to go the other way? No, other way. Now I can see. Now I've like got your chin cropped out.
That better?
Yeah, mate. I can just picture you. You're going to meetings with really important people, and you just got your chin showing.
Yeah, normally I'm like this. Actually, normally I'm like this, trying to pretend I'm not on my phone.
What do you think about the t-shirt short length here? It's a bit too tight, isn't it?
I was going to say, champ, a little bit too small for you.
Been working out hard, champ. As long as you want to make it, John. Depends how interesting you are, I guess.
Talk all day.
John Barclay! The man, the myth, the legend, John Barclay. Champ, how's life and how's it all going?
Champ, episode 3. This is going to be the best one, I assume. Life's good, to be honest. I don't want to say life's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty content. Everything's worked out after a pretty tricky few months, probably.
Yeah, and we're gonna dive straight in. Obviously, you've been out of the game now for a year, is it? Well, yeah. After COVID hit in late March, and everything got cancelled. So you've been out of the game a year. How have you found the transition from pro rugby into, I guess, the real world? Even though you're working from home and doing most things over Zoom, how's it been? Just that sort of transition.
I kind of break it into a couple parts. Like the first bit was, like, I knew I wasn't going to be at Edinburgh. I didn't know if I was going to keep playing, so the first few months were pretty exhausting. I literally looked at everything. At one point I was going to be playing in Texas, San Diego. The next minute I was going to work for a yogurt company. Like, I was literally doing, because I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't know how long it was going to go on for. And then I think I spoke to Haley, and I didn't actually want to play rugby anymore. And I was kept getting asked about it. I was like, if I was honest, it was the easiest way I could have got a job, I thought. But I didn't enjoy the last 2 years. I didn't enjoy the last year just with my body and stuff at Edinburgh, and just didn't enjoy it. And the World Cup was disappointment. But once I got past that and retiring, and then the actual pretty unusual time to retire, but once I managed to find a job, I think for probably a few months I was properly stressed. The first time in my life.
I remember you saying that to me on the phone, how stressful it was.
I'm not someone who's like, I don't think I'm like a highly strong person, but I was like waking up at 3 a.m, just lying in bed and just being like, what am I going to do? I had like put almost all my money I'd earned into my house. So I had a mortgage, got 3 kids. I was like, I have no idea. I didn't think it was because of COVID. I was like, who is going to employ anyone? Never mind an ex-rugby player who doesn't have any any professional skills. So I was properly bricking it, and then this job came about with Dalma Whiskey, and then I think from that point, once I started working at Soup, like for first day, like doing like first of all doing like an interview on Zoom in like a shirt and tie and stuff. I was like, what the hell is going on in my life? This is what it's come to. But I feel like, and now I'm so far past that, I actually feel like it seems like so long ago I played rugby.
Yeah.
But I watched the games. I watched the England game. I watched the All Nation stuff and didn't really enjoy it. But I watched the England game and I was like, I actually can't believe I used to play rugby.
Yeah.
That's and a lot of guys ever time. What's that?
I've actually got it written down here. 342 caps as well, all together, rugby career. It's not bad.
It's a lot of ruggers to feel like you never played.
It's a wounded body, that.
It's a wounded body. I'm so sore. People say it gets easier. Like, I thought I'd stop and I'd feel all right. I'm actually stiffer. I just sit in this chair all day and do golf.
How's the rig? What's the body looking like?
Pretty sloppy. Gyms are shut. Yeah, gyms are shut. I deliberately didn't do anything, and I was like, I'll get back on track, and then started running. Then my knee was wrecked. Went to the gym, started doing weights, and I was like, why am I doing weights? Like, it just hurts. Like, everything hurts. So there's a few things I need to get fixed, but I'll train a bit, but not in the same way. Like, there's no. It's actually something I actually thought I would never do class. I actually hate training on my own.
Yeah.
I think just being like you're in the environment, aren't you, all the time? There's always people in the gym with you. You're always messing around.
You're just pushing. I suppose even though you don't think you're competitive in the gym, you are a bit. It's natural for us to push each other on, and even if you think you're not, it just helps having mates there. Because I remember I spoke to you during lockdown, and I was doing stuff on Lucy's farm by myself, and it's just so hard to, even for us who are meant to be pretty motivated guys at training by yourself, even for us to go into lockdown and you're trying to do like pitch runs on the tarmac and stuff, and it's so different when you got no one to push you.
I went and did like a running session. I think I was in like, I don't know, I thought I'd go and run. I was like dodging like dog crap on the pitch, this park, and I was like, I don't need to do this anymore. And I went to the gym and I was trying to do like, I was never one of the strongest guys. I was pretty strong, but I was never one of the super strong guys. And I was doing weights and I was like, I don't need to do bench press till it hurts anymore. Which you just do, you accept. It's like a competitive thing, isn't it? And the young guys are always coming through, so strong. You try and keep up, and that's why I saw like the World Cup training. I couldn't keep up. Like, it's the first time I couldn't keep up in my career. I was like, this is a sign that I need to stop this game. It's too much.
And what you spoke about it briefly, like when you got your new job and stuff like that. But I remember speaking to you on the phone at one point, and you were like, "Mish, it's so scary. I'm having to write like my own CV for the first time ever." Because obviously we went straight from school into rugby basically, and I remember thinking how scary that sounded writing a CV. It doesn't bode well for me, life after rugby. But like, I remember just you talking about writing a CV, and I was like, oh my gosh. Mate,
CV, they're like, someone's like, oh, so have you got a CV? I'm like, no, but I'll rustle one up quickly for you. And you're like, so you write your name, and you're like, and you first of all, you know what goes on a CV. You like Google CV.
Pro 12 winner.
You write your name and you're like skills, and you're like, tackling, line out skills, like, and there's nothing, and you're literally scraping the bottom of this barrel trying to think. And I did a degree during rugby, but it's like trying to fill it in. Even something, honestly, like I said in meetings, like, can you just quickly put together like something on Excel? I'm like, I can barely open Excel, and then I spend like a whole day trying to do one sheet on a spreadsheet. Hope my boss doesn't watch this, by the way.
What's your actual job title with your new job? So when you go after COVID ends, what will your day-to-day, what do you think your day-to-day runnings will be, sort of thing? Will you be going into the office or traveling or?
So actually, I think I'll be a bit of everything, which was what was going to be nice about my job, was I'm going to be a bit of time in the office, a couple of days, couple of days at home, and then quite a bit of traveling over to Asia and to America. So, which I'm looking for. I think it will get tiring, but I'm looking forward to that. But I think just like you talk about the transition of like, that's been the most stark thing, and COVID's kind of exaggerated all of it.
Yeah.
But like, go from spending time all day with people, and even if it's like you know, when you're in rehab, when you're in the, you know, the grafters group, and you're in rehab or whatever, and you just like, you think this is rubbish, and you think you're bored, you're like, wait till you're in your house all day.
Yeah.
With no one.
Yeah. I guess that's not. I suppose you've kind of had. I suppose it's quite nice in a way because you get to know people over Zoom with actually going into the office first, and you'll know people now when you go and know their faces. But then it's also a bit weird because you probably want to sort of get out of your home and meet people, and you've just been shut in your home with a new job and.
Yeah, everything's functional. Like, there's no like, I don't know what an office is like. It's going to be very different to like a rugby. A rugby coffee room, but like, there's no. Everything's so function. You have a phone call for a purpose. Everything has a function. It's not just like a bit of chat or all, you know, stuff like afternoon drinks or. Yeah. You know, you talk about Christmas time in the office, and that's when there's stuff going on. Like, all that's been kind of bypassed. So I'm hopeful like when this opens up, it's actually a bit of fun.
Obviously, you've met them over Zoom. Do you think you'll be nervous first day in the office? Is it going to be like going to a new club, or are you going to get initiated?
Yeah, I don't think the initiations are that extreme. Down it! No, I always have to hold back.
It'll be different.
Yeah, or like even like doing an interview or like meeting, like speaking to like the CEO or something. And I actually went to the office once. At Christmas, I had to go into the office to pick some stuff up. So I went for the first day, and my boss said, "I'll be good to go in." So I went in, and then I met the CEO. I was just like, in an office like a schoolboy.
Yeah.
And like, as in a rugby, I probably didn't have that in a rugby environment for, like, I don't know, definitely the second half of my career. You were comfortable. You knew what you were doing. You were respected. Everyone knew what you did. Whereas I definitely feel like, so I had like my rugby. I don't have much rugby memorabilia, but I had my caps. Were up there before, and like I took them down before I went on calls and stuff, because I was like, I don't want anyone to like associate me as a rugby player, because you get your big time, like, it's called like imposter syndrome, where you don't think you belong in that environment.
Yeah, you
want people to take you like credibly as someone in the office who takes an hour to do a spreadsheet. But
did you obviously, you talked about staying in rugby, like maybe with the like maybe playing rugby again as a player. Did you ever consider going to, obviously you were a really good leader on the field, did you consider going into doing coaching or anything like that, or did you?
That was the plan initially, like moving back, and then didn't really work out.
Well, that was the thing. Rugby stuff was, people weren't getting contracts, though, were they? It was hard for, you know.
So I was like, that's the people. Some say, I'll just go and play somewhere, which people just don't understand. I was 33, so yeah. I mean, I could have kept playing, and I could have moved. And that part of going, if I'd gone to America, was to like go and maybe do some coaching in America. And I just had a total guts for the rugby by then. I just was fed up with it. And I think it was just a lot. I did 16 years, 17 years, and I was like, by the end, I was like, I don't want to leave and then do. And I find the analysis very boring of rugby, as you know, like, all the subjects look computers. I'm like, sometimes I couldn't be like enthusiastic and like put loads into that. So maybe if I say the Scarlets, I probably would have ended up coaching, because it just like didn't work out that way. So I don't think now I'll go back into it.
You're not leaving the game completely, though. You still do your bits of punditry here and there, or are you still wanting to do that?
Yeah, I actually enjoy that. I think, and the only reason I ever did it was because I ruptured my Achilles. And I had a bit of a run at it, and then you spend a year doing it. But yeah, I actually, that's probably the one thing when I go to games, I actually kind of get the buzz from being in the stadiums with the crowd, and being on air and stuff is pretty nerve wracking, because I don't get that from anything else in my like day to day. So yeah, I do enjoy that. I'd enjoy it with crowds and with nights out afterwards and a bit of social, but that's not happening right now.
Yeah, and what do you miss? What do you miss most about the rugby environment, or just rugby in general? And what do you miss the least? What do you not miss?
I miss the most just seeing the guys every day.
Yeah,
like, I literally went from seeing like 30 guys, which I said earlier, I see 30 guys a day. We go in and there's always something going on. There's always some crack going on a bit. There's always something to talk about.
Yeah.
People always taking the piss out of each other. So that's definitely like having the kind of camaraderie. And I think like normal world, you'd work 9 to 5 or whatever, and then you'd go and you can jump. I could jump in the car and go to yours, or jump, go and see someone, or go for a beer, or go for a coffee, or so that kind of transition has been quite exaggerated. What do I miss the least? Meetings. Yeah, I hate. So boring. It's so boring. Meetings and just I didn't enjoy training by the end, and that's when I knew I just found training so arduous. Like it just took me like an hour to get warmed up, and then luckily Edinburgh sessions were about 4 hours long, so I was warm by the end.
Yeah. And do you miss the competitive stuff, like, or you did, like you say, you did it for 16 years, it like by the end you were a bit over it, or do you miss, like, I suppose, competing at like top level? Do you miss that or not really?
Not really, no. Which I might find strange, but not really. I was just like, and I actually kind of by the end of my career, I had lost a bit of my competitive edge, like in training and stuff, and that's something that I was always proud of. I always trained like super hard, and then was always really competitive with anything. And then a couple of injuries, a couple of shoulder surgeries, you wreck your wrist, you rupture your Achilles, and you're like, physically, you're like, I cannot compete every day anymore. And I didn't even. You kind of try and push it, and I was like, I'm just going to do what everyone else does. And you're like, oh, my body's broken down again. I need to fix something out.
Obviously, towards the end of the career, you had your Achilles, but before that, you were playing with your funky wrist for years, weren't you? And you can't even move it.
Wrist, my whole like wrist is like doesn't work. It doesn't say it's just your wrist. It's like no, it's actually quite important. My shoulders, but then I think you say I play 350 games. I don't think players now will play 350 games.
No,
in their career. It's like, and you look back at like the way the game was refereed and like the stuff at the break, like the way things were done. Like I think I was actually kind of lucky to get out of the game with, probably just one wrecked shoulder and one wrecked wrist and an Achilles that's like a piece of bamboo. Other than that, the rest of the body's not too bad.
Yeah, and now that it is all over, Barks, what do you look back most fondly on, and what's your proudest moment in rugby, or a few of your proudest moments in rugby?
I always look back fondly on tours. Australia tour. Why are you laughing, Hamish? Touring. I just love touring. I thought it was the best fun. The World Cup wasn't that much fun because it's a bit different, but an actual end of your tour is, as you know, is like everything's a bit more relaxed. You get to go and have, enjoy this company.
Obviously, the World Cup's very serious.
Yeah, very serious. I mean, the other ones are serious, but like you're just traveling around and there's loads of scrutiny. I think traveling. So I miss probably touring the most. What was the other part of the question?
What was your proudest moments in rugby, in a Scotland jersey, Scarlets, Glasgow?
Yeah, so people are finding hard. My best ever moment was captaining Scarlets and winning the league. People say, "Oh, what about your first cap or the England game?" Yeah, they were great, but like they're one-off days. There's something, and I speak to the Welsh boys down at Scarlets, and they say like there's something very different about winning a league. It's like it's not even just 1 year. It took us years to build a squad, to be competitive, and then to win the league. So I get goosebumps. It was awesome. I loved it. So I think winning the league.
I remember just watching that team at the time. You were playing such exciting rugby as well. Like and
I think also if I hadn't had that 5 years in Wales, I think I would have been a bit like man down about my career. If I'm honest, I think I spoke to you about this before. I was like, even in that team, like when you look back, there was like British Lions, guys who went on the British Lions tour the day after we won the final. Guys who went on to play for Wales, Tadhg, like we were a team full of internationals. But those guys had won Grand Slams, but they'd never won anything in their club side, and like that's what we spoke about at Scarlets. And before we're like, yeah, you guys maybe have won Grand Slams, and I was obviously Scottish captain at the time. I was like, yeah, probably not going to win much here, guys. but then they understood the impact of it. So from a Scarlets point of view, I think that from a club point of view, that, and then I think the international stuff. Getting back into the Scotland team after not being in it for like 3 years was pretty cool.
For a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, it's just 3 years. And
it's pretty impressive that you notched up 76 caps and had 3 years of not playing, to be honest.
I should have had 100, really. Scott Jonathan's got a lot to answer for.
Maybe he's watching, Barks. Maybe he's watching the Rex Clubhouse.
What? And the England game was like. But I still look back, and I'm like, maybe I'll look back differently in years to come. But I always look back and think I could have done more. Like the Scotland team for years that I played in wasn't that successful. And you somehow you get a bit you get a bit jealous of guys that have like win Heineken Cups or win Grand Slams or whatever it is. But then you interestingly I speak to Jim Hamilton, and he's like he won 4 premierships or 3 European Cups, and he's like, you don't remember any of that. Like, those days are cool, but it's always more about like what you did, who you did it with, rather than what you did at the end of the day. And I think that's probably why I enjoyed Scarlets so much, because we kind of managed to do both.
Yeah, mate, awesome, and yeah, I think that's pretty cool. You captain Scarlets to win a trophy after all the stuff you obviously went through with Glasgow. Come on. Some fan questions for you here.
Nice.
Okay, firstly, what was your rugby journey like after leaving school? Did you fall into the pro game pretty easily, or did you have to did you have any setbacks along from leaving school, or did you go straight? I know you got capped pretty young, didn't you? So
yeah, I went straight. So I was going to go to uni to study medicine, and then I decided last minute, smart and good at rugby.
What could have been?
I know exactly. It wouldn't have been a stress, when I stopped playing rugby. And then I just decided last minute, I was this apprenticeship came up, and back then it was basically a way to. It was like we were like the guinea pigs of the apprentices. So we came in and we got paid £6,000 a year and trained full time. So we got £500 a month to live on, and that's like used to just train full time and go out and kind of living like a uni student at the same time. So it was good fun. But then I was in the system from school all the way through. Never a gap in contracts. Never left the game. So my journey was pretty straightforward. I went from captaining my school team and Scotland under-18s to as a 17-year-old to Glasgow, which seems crazy now. And then I played my first game for Glasgow when I was 17 as well, which is
youngest ever Glasgow cap.
I was when I don't know if maybe someone else now. I was at the time, and I look back and I was like, shit. And it was like, like I say, a totally different game there. Like my first game, I got like beaten up so badly.
Were you quick about that when you were 17?
Well, quicker than I was pretty quick when I played.
Yeah, that's
I was rapid.
Players there, the question, do any of them have the pace to catch John Barclay? Coming all the way back, Maffey on the tap tackle, can't get there, and Barclay's in for...
I used to be rapid. I'll find some clips.
Yeah, that was a whole Achilles ago, wasn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, it sure was.
Next, did captaincy come easy to you, or was it, especially, I guess, for Scotland, was it daunting at first, or...
It didn't come easy to me. I was someone that had like, and you never say at the time, I was always very conscious of like hearing my own voice, always like quite hard on myself about how I did things, and like a bit like doubtful about whether people were listening or did people respect it. And I think it takes a bit of time to get comfortable doing it. And that's people. I think everyone thinks it's this like really it's not a glamorous thing you think it is. It's awesome. I loved it. Captaining Scotland is like one of if not the best thing I did. For Scotland. So, but I found it quite hard captaincy.
It's like any skill, isn't it? You have to work on it, because it's also players getting used to hearing you talk. Because at some point you got to make the transition from being a young guy where you don't really talk as much,
and being an idiot as well. Like, I was generally a bit of an idiot and had a bit of a perception of being this quite serious guy. Like with media people were surprised by it, and I was like, I kind of, as kind of piss about a bit and try and have a bit of fun, and then you kind of have to then go from that being that guy who's having a bit of a moan about stuff and having a bit of a joke to then say, "Oh, come on." And I remember being you were on that tour we played in Singapore, and it was like it may as well have been 70 degrees, and Rob Harley swallowed his tongue. It was so hot, and I talked before that day, the session, about how like we don't want to talk about the heat, and it was the hottest day I've ever trained it, and I don't deal very well in the heat, and I then the whole session I had to try and be the guy that like was getting on with it.
Wasn't moaning about the heat.
Yeah, it wasn't. Man, that's all I could think about was how hot it
was. What's the best player you've ever played against, or let's go with the best back row you've ever played against?
Richard McCaw.
Yeah.
Bit cliche, but yeah.
What, just everything about him, or?
Yeah, I just kind of put it like you know, when you're like growing up and your brother is like, so you've been playing with your brother and he's like beating you up and and you're just like, you know, stop, please stop. That's what it was like playing against him. You're like, just stop. Like, and he was just so good at what he did. And you know, there was always, I don't think he played in the game when we ran them kind of close, but they were always kind of comfortable games for him. See, I never really saw him in like, you know, like really, he didn't have to probably do much defending against us. We didn't have the ball back then, but he was pretty special. Nice,
mate. A bit more of a light-hearted one here. I think you might be able to guess who sent this one in, to be honest. How many pairs of white undershorts have you gone through in your career?
Just one. I just use the same pair. So you only need one pair.
Like what?
Just wash them, yeah. Just put one pair in the wash.
What's the in-joke there, John?
Didn't understand that one, Jam.
Okay. And I think I know the answer to this one. Are you a saver or a spender? And remember, all your mates know what you really are, so be careful of your answers, John.
I'm somewhere in the middle, I'd say.
Completely.
I'm probably a saver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that. I would say you're actually the tightest man in Scotland.
No, that's you. That's you. I've seen the car. I've seen the boots you're thinking about wearing next year. That's
true.
Different level.
Big news coming soon, folks. All right, Barks, that's it. Thanks so much for coming on. And
no probs. Can't wait for all my free stuff to come through the post.
Yeah, well, I'll speak to the boss, and I'm sure it'll be on its way this week or next week or something like that. Anyway, bye, John.
See you, Jam.